Welcome to Women Awakening. I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. Welcome to Women Awakening. We're changing lives one woman at a time. And I love my conversations with our love expert, Arielle Ford. Welcome, Arielle.
Thank you, Cynthia. You're looking stunning as always.
You too. I want to come be in your room. I
Oh,
love
that'd
that.
be fine. Yeah, come on down.
So I want to talk today about what's your love language? What is a love language and how do we tap into that?
That is such a juicy topic. So, I learned in kindergarten the golden rule: do unto others as you would have others do unto you, which I think is good for most stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
but not good for relationships. My friend Susan Bratton has the platinum rule. And the platinum rule is do unto others as they would like to be done unto.
Ah,
And so that's really what the love language is all about. There's a great book by Dr. Gary Chapman called The Five Love Languages that really outlines it. But it's about, all of us feel loved in different ways. And he says there's basically 5 ways. So there's some people who want gifts. Some people want acts of service. Some want words. They want to hear the words of love, or they want touch. And I forget what the 5th one is. There's a 5th one in there. Anyway, it'll come to me. Anyway, so there's this quiz that you can do online. You can just Google it, love languages, and you can find out what are your top 2 predominant love languages, and then have your partner do it. Because if, let's say my thing's gifts, which it isn't, but let's say it is, and Brian would be doing acts of service for me and giving me his attention, but I wouldn't feel loved, because I feel most loved when you think hard about, well, what kind of gift would Arielle like and how would she like it wrapped? And that's how I receive love. So where people get screwed up in relationships is that they think they're giving love because it's the way they want to receive love, not necessarily the way the partner wants love. Like, so for me, I really want somebody, I want to be touched, and I want your attention. That's what I want. I could care less about gifts. Now, if you buy me a gift, that's nice, but do I get excited? I don't. It's just like, it doesn't mean that you love me. But if you take my hand and look into my eyes and tell me that you love me, okay, I'm melting.
right.
What are your love languages?
Words and touch are definitely languages. But it's really interesting, and I'm really glad we're having this conversation, because a lot of us don't know we're trying to get from others what we want. And so we have this little scorecard, and we start checking off whether we're getting it or not. And so one of the things I've learned from you is about really paying attention to what your beloved needs and wants.
Yeah, which you just reminded me of something. When I was writing Turn Your Mate into Your Soulmate, I interviewed Rabbi Igzagwe, who runs the Chabad Center of La Jolla where I live, and I asked him, what is the most important thing in a marriage? And his answer totally rocked my world. He said, the most important thing for you to do is to give what is most needed. Not
Wow.
what you want, not what you think they want, but give what is most needed. And if that is not an act of service, I don't know what is, right?
Right. Well, but here's the other thing too, is like finding a way to discover it. It's like, because sometimes you can ask and people will know, and other times you have to find out different ways. So can we talk about that?
Well, I live with that. So that's really tricky. So I live with like a super low maintenance guy who nobody in his family whines or complains about anything. They suck it up and they power through it and they do it and they don't ask for help, which is the exact opposite of how I grew up, where whining
Me too.
is a high art form, right? So it's difficult because, sometimes I'll say, well, I actually often ask Brian, what can I do to make your life better? And the only answer I've ever gotten is nothing. It's already great, which isn't useful.
Right.
Not helpful. And other times, I'll ask him, well, how are you doing? Because he's had a lot of illnesses the last year. And I get these very vague responses. It's just like, well, could you be specific? Is there something I could do or research? So it's a hard one, because the other flip side of that, because in his mind, what's going on is so obvious that I should be able to witness, observe, and figure it out. And then I just feel stupid, because I don't, because he's got this I'm so strong and together thing going on. So it's tricky stuff to navigate, and I don't know that there's a real solution to it, except to constantly bring your awareness to the other, to pay attention, which means when Dr. John Gottman calls it bidding. When your partner speaks to you, you put down your smartphone, you put down your iPad, you physically turn your body and your attention and your gaze towards them. And that's what he calls bidding, so that you're there with them and you create the safe container for them to say whatever it is they need to say, as opposed to, oh, I didn't even have my phone out here. It's like, oh yeah, honey, yeah, right, yeah, you're right.
Right.
All of us who think we can multitask, we're so full of shit.
Yeah, no.
We cannot multitask, but what we can do is be present and aware and loving and kind and respectful and supportive.
Well, yeah, and pay attention. It's really interesting because when I first started dating Carl, we would be eating dinner, and in the middle of dinner, he would put his hand over on my back and rub my back. And I was like, why is he doing that? We're supposed to be eating dinner, right? But then I started going, oh, because not only does he like to touch, but he likes to be touched. And because that wasn't the way I grew up, it was like I had to go, this is not an invasion, this is a gift.
Yeah. It's crazy how you have to learn stuff,
Right.
But in my family, when you bought gifts for somebody, you sort of figured it out, oh, well, let's see, they're into sports, or they like this, or they like that. In Brian's family, you don't dare buy anybody a gift without first speaking to them and finding out exactly what it is they want. And early on, this used to drive me crazy. My 9 and 10-year-old nieces would send me Excel spreadsheets of what they wanted, with the size, color, price, and a link to the site that sold it. I just found it just so disgusting and obnoxious that I never bought anything on their spreadsheet. But everybody else in the family did, because that's how they're trained. You don't surprise somebody with a gift, which is what I like to do. I like to get creative. I like to think about, something different that they would find interesting or amusing or useful.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So I wanna just go back, because I was making some notes while we were talking, that if you're interested in understanding your love language and the love language of your partner, then I love that. Give what is most needed. Be present.
Do unto others as they would like to be done
unto. Be present and pay attention. So what's the payoff of knowing each other's love language?
Well, I think you can make your spouse really happy by doing that. I'll give you a good example. I have this friend, Beth, and we wrote my very first book together, and it came out of her complaint that what she most wanted from her husband was little love notes, love letters, cards, flowers, and gifts. And he didn't understand at all, because he always used to say, I tell her all the time how much I love her and how beautiful she is. And it was this ongoing battle they were having. And now, of course, having read love languages, I understand that he just wasn't speaking her language.
Right.
And so I think in order to have harmony in the relationship, if your husband hates peas, why would you feed him peas, right?
Exactly.
If he loves asparagus, why wouldn't you have 10 different asparagus recipes? You know, I mean, that's sort of the benefit where we live in an era where women no longer need men. We don't
Mhm.
need men. We can totally do everything for ourselves. But our friend John Gray says, no, you don't need a man. But here's why you should want one. You know, it's like the icing on the cake, the cherry on the ice cream. You know, life is just more fun when you get to share it with your best friend, your lover, your partner in crime, and your safe place to land.
That's beautiful. So I want to remind people how to get in touch with you, and because you have a lot of books and you have webinars and all kinds of things to support us finding our soulmates. And I love the newsletter I got today. So I always like, oh, I got a newsletter from Arielle. So it's great. So how do we find you?
Well, the easiest way is my website, soulmatesecret.com, and there's lots of free stuff. In fact, there's a whole tab called free stuff. And I didn't get to tell you when I saw you recently, I have a new e-course, and it's called Communication Secrets of a Happy Relationship. And it's a 21-day e-course at Daily Om. You can go to dailyohm.com/soulmate. It's $25. It's 21 videos with 21 lessons. And it's absolutely everything I know on how to have a happy, satisfied, and bliss-filled relationship.
Oh, I love that. Okay, ladies, in case you didn't write that down, it's dailyohm.com/soulmate 21. 21.
Dave.
Um, yeah. So, first of all, I want to thank you for doing this. I'm always grateful when you're here. And ladies, I want to let you to know that someone like Arielle is bringing her presence because she wants to make a difference on the planet. She wants to make a difference in your life. So thank you, Arielle. I'm grateful. And ladies, come back and see the videos as often as possible. We're adding all the time. We want you to wake up to your greatness, your power, and your light. And so we'll see you next time.